Hello everyone. Today the topic of my final presentation is factors affecting students' sport participation in Kazakhstan. Firstly, let's outline the following information of this research. So firstly, I will start with an introduction, then I will provide a literature review, then method sections. After that, I will provide some results and analysis part, and after all, at the end, I will conclude all the information that was provided in this study. So let's start. Do you know what is the best part of doing sports? The opportunity to do it. Once said Mike Singletary, who is the professional football player. Nowadays, a lot of students in Kazakhstan do not pay enough attention on sport participating, or simply cannot participate in sports because of some factors. I'm first-year student at KIMEP, and who loves sports, and I truly believe that sport has to be part of every student's life because we're the future of the country, and that is why it is very important to be physically and mentally healthy. In order to popularize the sports among Kazakhstani students, it is first of all important to take into account some factors that do not allow Kazakhstani youth to do sports, and that is why the topic of my study is factors that do not allow Kazakhstani students to do sports. Now let's look at literature review. So Kubai in 2013 highlighted two major factors that affect students' sport participation, and they were lack of time and lack of interest. Houshani, in his study in 2015, mentioned that distance from home to the sport facilities is one of the main factors that affect sport participation. And Wijitesa in 2013 said that competitive education has negative effects on sport participation. And in this study, I think it is important to mention some benefits of doing sports, except benefits only on physical health. So, according to an article, positive effects of doing different kind of sports that was posted in on BBC website page, there are a lot of positive sides of doing team sports and also doing single sports. For example, from people who do play basketball, play volleyball, and play football, for example, all of those team sports, they develop their communication skills, their leadership skills, and their skills of working in a group. And as for single sports, people who do single sports develop their self-confidence. Now let's move to the method section of this study. So basically, I used two data collection methods. They are interview and web-based survey. In interview, I interviewed two people, and the major requirement was it has to be people who do not currently do sports. In my interviews, there were 6 questions, and it took approximately 10 minutes for each interviewee to answer all of those questions. As for the web-based survey, I posted my survey in SurveyMonkey website and sent the link of this web-based survey to 16 different people who currently do not do sports. And in my survey, I had 5 questions. and it approximately took from 1 to 2 minutes for each participant to participate in this survey. Now let's look at some of the results of this data collection methods and data collection procedure. So the first question of my survey was, have you ever done any kind of sports? And as you can see from the graph, the majority of Kazakhstani students have participated in sports before, but gave up on it due to some factors. And only 16% of students answered that they haven't participated in any kind of sports. The next question was, what factors do not allow to do sports? And there were 3 different options provided by me according to some findings from the literature review part. They were lack of time because of education, distance to the sport facilities, and lack of interest. As it can be seen from the figure 2, the most popular factor among all of those was lack of time because of education, as 68, almost 69% of participants chose this option, and 12% chose distance to the sport facilities option, and the rest 18% chose lack of interest. It means that nowadays students cannot do sports because of education, as it takes most of their time, and it means that nowadays people understand the importance of getting a good education and having a good diploma after graduating a university. As for other 2 factors, the distance to the sport facilities was chosen by only 2 people who conducted in this study, and that means that nowadays the transportation ways are developed in our country. So now let's move to the next question. Do you think it is possible to fix those factors? As you can see, the majority of students, 87% of them, chose the option yes, and only 12% said that it is impossible to fix those factors. And the last figure, who has to help you to fix those factors? And there were 4 options provided by me: parents, government, teachers, and nobody. And as it can be seen from the figure 4, the half of the participants chose the option nobody. And it means that for the half of students that participated in my study, nobody has to help them, and that factors that do not allow them to do sports can be solved by themselves. However, there are some students that need support from parents, from government, and from teachers. Now let's analyze some major findings from the interviews. So the first major finding was suffering a trauma also can be a reason of giving up on sports, as this factor was provided by one of the interviewees. Also, the distance to the sport facilities factors was confirmed by one of the interviewees. So the result of my interviewee was showed the exact same results with the Madhushani's study result. So it means that this factor is very popular. The next finding was parents sometimes push to study too much. One interviewee provided her factor and said that her parents pushed her to study too much, and maybe if they didn't, maybe she could find some time to do sports and to participate in any kind of sport. The next one is lack of different sport courts was one of the factors of interviewee of why she couldn't participate in sports. And the last one was losing an interest was a factor of second interviewee. Second interviewee said that he was participating in one kind of sport for 10 years, and after that he simply lost an interest to the sport. So now let's sum up all the information that was provided in this research presentation. First of all, I want to say that the purpose of this study was achieved as the main aim was to find out the factors that do not allow students to participate in sports. After conducting a study and after interviewing and collecting data from students, I can say that the main question of this study was answered. And during the data collection process, I faced some difficulties, and one of them was that I couldn't find an appropriate interviewee because it was difficult to find a person who currently do not do sports. But in general, the main purpose was achieved. The question of the study was answered after collecting the data, and basically that's it. Thank you for listening, and stay safe and participate in sports.